Hi everyone, this is Jacqueline from She Rises Studios and welcome to Light the Torch Ceremony. Today we are redefining what it means to lead with the help of this new book, The Authentic Leadership Playbook. Step into your power, own the room, redefine the rules. We are joined by the incredible Dr. Elizabeth Pritchard and Christine Burns, two leaders who are here to show us that true influence starts with who you be, not just what you do. Let's stop performing and start being. Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How you doing?
Well, we are doing so great and we are so excited for this new book that we have out for you, ladies. And so let me go ahead and get started with the message of the book. The book calls us to stop performing and start being. Why is that message urgent right now?
It's really urgent, I think, because we are in a stage where we see through mediocrity. We see through people who are being insincere, who are being inauthentic, who are saying one thing, but actually doing another. And so authentic leadership, yes, it's a buzzword. Christine and I have been coaching and training authentic leadership for nearly a decade now, and people are finally catching on, which is fantastic. And that we have to be ourselves. We cannot be a certain pretense of self as the leader in an organization or the manager or the person who has this particular title. We have to show up as ourselves and be real, be honest, be true, be open, be transparent in who we be every single day. And so that's one of the reasons why it's really vital that we have the tools to stop performing, stop pretending, stop trying to be a leader like they are because they do it well, or that one's really good over there, or I'm not quite sure what to do here, but I think I will do this and I'll fake it till I make it. And so it's time to stop that and come back into here and be true to yourselves.
What was the turning point that led you to this, philosophy of being and versus doing?
For me, the key point was to actually identify for me what, like who do I be? Who do I show up as? And instead of just doing and not thinking and just doing what other people are doing or doing what I thought people expected me to do, it was the key point for me to go, hang on a minute, when I show up as me and I show up in my truth of who I really am, then that's when the magic happens. And I mean, even simple things for me, it was like I was lecturing in exercise science in New Zealand. I was managing the department and I kept looking and thinking, who am I supposed to be? Like, what am I supposed to do here as this person that's lecturing, managing, and doing all these other things? And then I thought, hang on a minute. When I'm being me, the students respond really well. When I'm being me, the staff, they bring their own individual geniuses to the game as well. And even, in other areas of my life, it was like, hang on a minute. When I'm being me, that's when the good stuff's happening, and it's easier. And when I noticed that bit for me, then I was like, aha, that for me, that was my aha moment, my turning point of being, not just doing, and also realizing that showing up as me and my truth, the goods happen, the magic happens in that moment.
And I think for me, around that I was do. I'm very good at doing. I'm very, very, very good at doing. I have a doctorate. I'm very good at doing. And for me, part of learning a different way was when I crashed and burned. And in 2002, I crashed and burned. And for a few months, and I share a little bit about this in the book as well, I could not do anything. And I had to find a different way of being a leader. I had to find a different way of showing up as myself. I had to find a different way of loving life, creating life, and being who I be. And so that was sort of part of the impetus that sparked, well, it didn't spark, it exploded really for me. Because it was like, I cannot keep doing this. I cannot keep doing what I am doing.
Yeah.
Something has to change, and it has to be drastic and huge and be a total shift. And so through the last 2 decades, 2 and a bit decades, Christine and I have learned these tools, have done it through trial and error, and now we have this book, so you can read the book and you can put it in practice. We have really easy strategies so that you don't have to go through the tough stuff and do it the hard way.
Right. And we don't have to test it for ourselves because these tools are tried and tested. Would you say then that being true to yourself, being self-aware, removes the pressure from the doing?
It can, if you choose.
Yeah.
And it's a choice. One of the things, and we have it in the book as well, is for each person, in the sense of I get to choose. And it is when we're self-aware, when we're self-regulated, when we're choosing to tap into ourselves, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, when we choose to be in that state, then it makes life easier. It really does. It's not only easy, it's simple, because you're staying in your own lane and you're being yourself. I would talk about being, stay in your sandpit, just because it's kind of fun. Stay in your sandpit. It's like, don't go wandering into everybody else's sandpit. Be you. And when you're aware of your own, your own ability to identify who you show up as when it's all going well, who you show up as when it's going completely the opposite direction, when you really know and can identify who you're being just in your average, you don't have to be bouncing off the walls. You can be in neutral. When you know who you are and who you show up as in those moments, it is. It's easy. I keep saying that, but it's true. And then you can make these connections with people so much easier, and you get so much more done as well.
That's wonderful. Now, in terms of leadership, what is one common myth that you hope this book will put to rest?
Many. Choose one.
Yeah. Anyone pick one?
One of the things that we often hear from women in leadership is that I have to lead like a man, and I have to be tough, and I have to be strong, and I have to be directive, and I have to do this, and I have to. And so we obliterate all those things. We obliterate the have tos to start with.
To do anything.
Because we don't have to do anything, because then you're doing it because you're trying to please external things. You're trying, we don't use the word trying either, but when you come from that sort of stance of like, I have to do it like this, or I have to do it like that one, or that person, or that man, or that behavior, because that's what they say works, or whatever. We obliterate those things, because that comes through from often traditional patriarchal leadership that does not work in the 21st century. People want reality. People want humanity. People want to know that you care for them. People want to see that you are real. And this doesn't mean, this is the other myth, people go, but to be an authentic leader, I have to be vulnerable, and that means telling everybody everything and bursting into tears when it's sad and showing them that I really care and I just take everything on board. That's a whole lot of BS as well. It's like authentic leadership isn't about that. You get to dial up and dial down. And with your self-awareness and self-regulation, which are 2 of the 4 main components of authentic leadership, you recognize when you can do that, when you need to share a little bit to show your humanity, when you get to open up a little bit more with your team, with your colleagues, with the people that you are being led by. Because leadership isn't just about those with a title. It isn't just about those who have a team leader, supervisor, CEO, director title. Authentic leadership is about everybody. We all lead ourselves. Otherwise, we wouldn't get out of bed. And so I've just given you 3 myths that we've obliterated along the way. And not only do we obliterate them in the book, we give you the ways to rebuild them your way. So we don't say do it this way. We say these are the principles, and you apply it to yourself and your personality and your strengths and your situation and your context. And that's the beauty of leading authentically.
That's wonderful. Authentically, sometimes women feel that if they're being authentic, it's difficult for them to be visible. How do you think these leaders, uprising leaders, can own the room while being authentic to who they are?
One of the things that, and I'm just thinking right now, is almost like the flip of that is, for any individual, is when we show up and we're not being ourselves, people can see through it, or they feel that there's something just out of alignment, or they can't do that, like, just something not quite right. Because when we're not being ourselves, then our brain's saying something, our body's doing another, and then we're completely out of alignment. And so people will pick up that misalignment kind of thing. So I think for me personally is to say, like, really tap in and have that conscious, purposeful, intentional approach, and it's like, show up as your whole self. And it's easier said than done in those moments, and it's practice. That's all any of us ever do is practice. We never actually really get there, and it's practicing showing up as our true self with our true voice. A lot of people will say, I don't like the sound of my voice. I never used to either, and sometimes I still don't. I'll hear myself on a reel and I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's mine. I can't, I'm not about to suddenly completely change that. However, when especially as a woman, okay, we're talking about that here, as a woman, to own the stage, to own the room, to be our true self and have that presence. And we talk in New Zealand about having mana, and it's there's no real words for it. It's that wisdom, it's that status, it's that presence, it's that thing that you show up with. Sometimes you turn up and you go, man, that person, there's something about that person, I love it, because they're in true alignment with us. Get it out. They're in true alignment with themselves. They're okay to literally laugh at themselves, to be able to be comfortable in their own skin. And for women, I think that's something where, be who you be, and be okay with the sound of your voice. Be okay with what you look like. Be okay showing up at the best that you can be in that moment. And that's the key thing for me, is that's what I'd say, is just, like, own it yourself, because no one else is going to own it for us if we can't own it ourselves. So we get to, if we choose, we get to be okay with our voice, with what we look like, with what we sound like, with the message we're delivering. When we're cool with that, then it's in alignment and people feel it. People go, whoa, there's something in that.
That's true. And I think, a lot of the leaders that are following the traditional way of leading, because that's how they were brought up, that's how they saw leadership. They try and chase that traditional success, which in turn burns them out, because it's just not who they are. How do you think this book can redefine what it truly means to thrive in this time and age?
This book gives you permission, I think, as well. I just got goosebumps. This book gives you permission to learn more about yourself, to understand who you are, to recognize your strengths that every single one of you who are listening to this today, every single one of you has heaps of strength. And when we try, quote unquote, we try to do that thing, that project, that meeting, the discussion, the courageous conversation, the team building, whatever, the coffee moment with someone where you're having a conversation. When we try and do that, like Christine was saying, as the way you think you should be doing, then we're giving away our power. We're giving away our authenticity. We are trying to be something else. And so this book gives you permission to go, who am I really? What are the things that I bring to life and to my role and to my career and to everything that I do and every breath that I take? What is the legacy that I am building? And what is it that I can step into with power and confidence and clarity? And this book will take you through those things, no matter where you start. You can look at any chapter. We've written it in 3 sections, be, and then do, and then have. Because often we have and do, 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 do. Yes. As I used to. And then we burn out and fall apart. And then life is just really hard and tough and not easy. So when we put the be first and we understand who we be, we give ourselves permission to be our strength, to be our authentic self, to be the person we are. Then we can do things lighter, easier, more comfortably, much more simply with the tools that are in the book. And then we will have what we have come here to have. We will have those things that we're aiming for. We will have those promotions. We will have the ability to walk into any room and own the room. And that's not from arrogance or ego, because an authentic leader doesn't have that. They recognize when that's beginning to rise and they grab it and they shove it in their back pocket and go, no, or shove it on the shelf and go, no, that's not who I be. I be the person who walks in with confidence, with clarity, and owning the room, because I've redefined my rules. I've given myself permission to show up in my true authenticness.
I love that. I love that, the word permission. This book gives us the permission to be just that. Now, if a leader feels stuck in their performance mode, what is the first small step or shift that they can take towards making, towards authenticity, being true to who they are as a leader?
Read the book.
Read the freaking book. I'm saying 2 things. It's like, get curious, just ask the questions of themselves. Get curious. What else could I do? What could I think differently? What could I do differently? And it's not the how of. I was thinking, I was working with someone yesterday. I was doing some coaching, and the person was like, "Oh yeah, but I'm really stuck. It's the beginning of the year, and I'm really stuck." I was like, "Well, stand up." And they stood up and they went, "Oh, okay." And seriously,
yeah,
like
that's awesome.
That's it right there. Is just move in the sense of get curious. What can I do differently? And it doesn't need to be massive. What can I do differently? I can stand up. What could I do differently? I can breathe differerently. What could I do? I can put a smile on my dial. So let's ask the questions, because they're the bits where we think that, I'm stuck in my leadership, or I'm stuck in this job, or I'm stuck in this, and I have to change this thing. It's like massive. No, one tiny little step, one tiny little shift. We talk about tiny tweaks, and it's literally that. And right here, right now, what I would say, get curious. What could I do differently? What could I think differently? What's something I could just shift, just, move, and literally
move,
stand up, just move, like breathe differently, move differently, just, or put a smile on the jaw. That's massive happy chemicals fling off. We know it.
Yeah.
You know, positive psychology proves it. The science is there. So there's your tiny tweak, and I'll shush about that one.
That's true, and I think it's been, it has been a long time message. One small step at a time.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be huge. But take that one small step toward your goal. One tiny itty bitty
Yes.
step at a time. That's the goal.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
And what the way, sorry to interrupt, the way that the book is written is that at the end of each chapter there's a little sort of action step for you to take as well. So it's just one tweak at a time.
Yep.
Now, sometimes some people, like myself, sometimes thinks, oh, but I have to do this thing before I go on to the next one. But because it's a tiny tweak, it's like, okay, what's the tiny tweak from this chapter? And it might be putting something in my diary to do on Tuesday. It might be contacting somebody and sending the message I've been putting off. It might be standing up and going for a walk and having a break for 5 minutes because I've been going do all day and I haven't put those pauses in place. And so these tiny tweaks are doable.
Yeah.
They're doable. They're specific. They're doable, and they're scattered all throughout the book so that you can have those tools to go, what's one tiny tweak? Some of them are questions, like Christine was saying. What is one thing I'm going to do differently this afternoon in the meeting that I run? Not 25 things, not change everything about what I be and who I show up as. What's the one thing I'm going to do differently? I'm going to start with identifying 3 things that we have done well in the last 2 weeks.
There you go.
That's the one thing I'm going to do differently in this meeting this afternoon. Boom, done, easy, do it.
That's
So
wonderful.
these are the things that make a huge difference.
Yeah.
This book is absolutely based on science. Christine and I both have a background in psychology, sports psychology, health research, education, a lot of different areas, and we bring a lot of that from positive psychology and organizational psychology that come into the book. That absolutely works. We also do neuroscience and neuroscience and coding, and so we give you those tools in the psychology to make those changes stick.
Awesome. So they're not only little tweaks, they're practical and doable.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? That's
Absolutely.
awesome. Wonderful. Now, to close us off here, I'd like for each of you to complete this sentence. Authentic leadership begins when?
Fun. Honestly, authentic leadership begins with fun. And for me, that's the thing of, have fun with things. Like, have fun with it. Like, whatever it is, it's the tiny tweak, the question, the interaction with someone, the showing up as an authentic leader is about fun. Because it's like, if you're not having, literally, if you're not having fun, then I'm not doing it. And so it doesn't need to be massive fun. It can be joy. It can be, just a moment of that. That's cool. So for me, it's like, it is authentic leadership. It begins with fun, having fun and being fun, because we can't have fun until you be fun. And so you might as well be fun. And whatever that level of fun is for each individual, being fun, it's going to bring out your true self. Because you open up, there's nothing that can inhibit it. There's nothing's going to get in the way, because when you're having fun, life is pretty freaking awesome. That's mine.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Christine. Dr. Elizabeth.
Wonderful. So for me, authentic leadership is being you, because we all have it. We all are authentic when we choose to be. And when we have the tools, when we have the understanding, we can all be authentic in every single thing we do. No compartmentalizing. There's a whole bit about busting through compartmentalizing. Be you in every single thing, every conversation with the neighbor, with the family member, with your colleagues, with your manager, with the CEO, with whoever. Be who you be. and have the tools to come back home to you, have that fun, create amazingness, because every single one of you gets to do it your way.
Awesome. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, it is indeed time to strip away the pretense and reclaim our power as authentic leaders. Huge thank you, Dr. Elizabeth and Christine, for sharing the science and wisdom behind the be, do, and have journey. The Authentic Leadership Playbook is now officially available on Amazon. Grab your copy today and start leading with courage, clarity, and confidence. Your journey to authentic leadership begins now. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.
Yeah, man.